Treble talking technique number 7. This is Ariana Kapp, and today I want to address a question that I have been getting into my inbox lately. So in order to get this position down here going, let's move it up here. Frets are not as far apart up here as they are down there on the end of the neck. So this position is already a little bit easier per default, and I'm going to show you a few things that you can do sort of to inch your way down there. So let's start on the G string, because that one is the easiest. Again, my thumb is tucked away in the sort of the middle of the neck. Try to not make this because it collapses your hand, but stand your hand up and just see if in this position of the bass you are able to have one finger per fret going, okay? See if you can stay right on top of the fret. If you are able to do that, that gives you cleaner tone. Now, if that's hard for you and you have really no way of getting your fingers to spread, don't worry about it. Try this. So if now you're gonna have a little bit of a movement going, okay? Let's say this is just too hard. So allow a little bit of a movement. Just jumping very lightly, making your hand smaller in the process. So right now I would, for example, only spread over 3 frets rather than 4, okay? But as an interim exercise, I think that's totally doable. Now make sure that you are playing this legato. Make this as connected as possible. It's easy to have that switch be audible. Okay, you want to avoid that. And see if over time you can get yourself to make that movement smaller and smaller so that you can, in fact, keep your fingers where they are. Now, if you remember the first session that I did, talking technique number 1, I did permutation exercises where you do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you mix up those fingers. You can do that. Let's say you stay in this position, and rather than going up the bass, you go this way. So you just go 1, 2, whatever, 4, 3 might be the number, and now you switch to the next string, 4, 3, and you go down the bass like that. Okay? So that way you can practice this. And again, if you need to make a little movement, make it. You know, that's totally okay. 2, 4, 3. Just make your hand smaller and move up and down a little bit like that. And over time, I recommend you inch your way, maybe do a position like that each week. If that's where you're at, that's totally fine. I think the payoff is going to be huge, because when you do that with this kind of attention, making them nice and legato, don't play them too fast. They can be really slow. And move a little bit, move a little bit. And then over time you move less and less. You know, it is a stretch. Sure, it's a stretch, but you never want to do anything violent or brutal or coerce your hand into a certain position. You want to stay as relaxed as possible and see which muscles you need to relax and which muscles you do need. And then after a week or a few days, you go to the next position and see how much your hand tolerates being fanned all over the 4 frets. Okay? For me to be able to reach every single fret like that, I have to stretch my first finger almost so that it's straight. Okay? So that's another thing you might want to experiment with. Another thing I recommend is that you are conscious of your position of the elbow. First of all, try not to pull up your shoulders, but be nice and relaxed and experiment with this angle. Not this, not that, but this. You're coming underneath the neck. Okay? Underneath the neck. So experiment with that, because it gives you space, to stand up your fingers. It gives you space to access this region of the bass. So that's another thing I recommend. Today's tip might reveal something really surprising. When we play, we usually always get auditory feedback of how well we're playing, how well we're coordinated, how round our tones sound, and so forth. For this tip, I suggest you take that auditory feedback away. You can do this, for example, when you're in a band situation and everybody's doing sound check and drums are blaring over there, guitars doing their thing, setting sounds and so forth. Turn off your sound so you don't hear yourself amplified and try to play a scale or a permutation exercise or what have you very quietly for yourself. If you want to do that at home, put something on the stereo. Okay, go to YouTube. That what you are going to be playing has nothing to do whatsoever with what you're listening to. So the interesting challenge when you do that is you cannot hear yourself at all, and you have to really feel precisely into the movements. Would this be coordinated? Am I alternating index and middle? Am I going down to the left and the right at the exact same time? It's an interesting experience. Harder than you might think, so give this a shot. Try it out. Let me know how it went for you. Thank you so much for watching. This was today's episode, Talking Technique. I'll talk to you next time.